But my vision opened me to infinite possibilities. That was what was so powerful. My vision, once I began to see the difference. And Ernest Holmes explains it on page 644 and 645 of the textbook. And it was as if he wrote it just for me. He said, when we learn to read and write, we no longer need to draw pictures to indicate our needs. Since we recognize our oneness with substance, when we know that the desire is the thing itself in its incipiency, which is its beginning stage, that supply and demand are one, we know that we need only turn over to intelligence our highest conceptions of beauty as we make our demand for a home, and there will be delivered to us something much finer than it was possible for us to picture. And that's exactly what happened. We demonstrated the most beautiful home I had ever seen at that point. See, there's still more. But at that point, we demonstrated the most beautiful home that I had ever seen. This house was so far beyond what I thought my dream house was. See? And that's when I learned the meaning of vision. That's when I learned the meaning of not my will, but thy will. Not mine, but thine. See, I had to remember that there's a blessing in everything. I had to remember that in the most horrific things, even, there's a blessing. And I had to demand my blessing, but in a different way than I had before. I had to remember that loss is only a perception. It's not our truth. See? Because we can never truly lose anything. See? There's nothing this is something, if you don't hear anything else this morning, hear this. There is nothing that we should have in our lives right now that we don't have in our lives right now. Because we have everything in our lives right now that our consciousness will accommodate. See, when we understand that, we will recognize that our health, our joy, our prosperity, our love could never be the one that got away. It's not possible. So today is Palm Sunday, the beginning of Holy Week in Christianity. And in the Bible, it's the day where we see Jesus making his entrance into Jerusalem. The metaphysical interpretation of the name Jerusalem is spiritual peace. So Jesus is moving in a consciousness of spiritual peace. And in this moment, palm branches are being laid all over the road before him, because this is the way that they used to do it in ancient times in the Middle East. And what it was a way that they welcomed home a king or a hero for their victory. All right? And yet we know that the story didn't end there. See? Because Jesus had a rather rough week. Okay, so I mean, he was betrayed, he was captured, he was ridiculed, he was tortured, and then he was crucified. After riding into Jerusalem victorious. And so we hear in Matthew 26:39, we hear him say, "Father." Everything is possible to you. And if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. And then he added something interesting. Yet not as I will, but as you will. See, he's saying, you know, this is not exactly the way I plan to spend this week. But I'm trusting that if there's a greater purpose here, I'm going to trust it to unfold. And I believe that by trusting the universe and by not having that cup pass from him, Jesus changed what might have been an interesting story to the greatest story ever told. So our lesson today is that there will be times in our lives where we're disappointed. But don't stop. There'll be times in our lives, like Jesus, where we have other plans. But don't be confused. There'll be times when our dreams appear to be halted. But don't stop. What we want to stop doing is counting the ways that things have gone wrong. We want to stop counting the ways, we want to stop counting how bad things are and adding them up. We want to embrace the lesson that Warren Buffett taught us, and Brokaw and McNeely and Varmus, all those people, because every single one of them told us something better came forth. So we want to try not to be fixated on what didn't happen or what we think should have happened, so that we can become aware of the benefits and the blessings in what did happen. Okay? Look for the blessings. Look for the times in your life that you can now record as minor footnotes. Look for the times in your life where your peanuts, butter, and your chocolate got put together. And start believing, totally believing, that everything is for my good. Let it be your way. Thank you for being here this morning, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you, guys.